following announcement has been paid for by the
Welcome to the Elite Mark Order podcast number 19. I'm Cosmic Scott. This is JayV, and tonight we cover the AEW Dynamite that was just broadcast last night, April 26, 2023, down in Florida. Now, just as a note, this is my birthday, so give us a like and subscribe for my birthday. JayV, how are you tonight? How are you feeling? And what did you think of the show overall?
I'm doing good. Happy birthday, Scott.
Thank you.
Last week was Happy 420 Day. This week is Happy Birthday. So you've been doing a lot of celebrating recently.
Oh, next week is my anniversary.
Oh, nice.
Yep, on Thursday.
Triple crown.
No, even better. May the 4th.
May the 4th be with you. Excellent.
So, quadruple.
Look at that. Yeah. I love the show. I think, just based on the cage match rating, I think fans were a little hard on it. I enjoyed it. Although I did see people who normally don't say anything negative, like dug into the show a little bit. I thought it was fine. I thought every segment was decent, and there was some, really good stuff on the show. So I'm looking forward to talking about it.
I think overall, again, it's how it leaves you. And I think this show ended up leaving me feeling like, okay, this is building towards something. So I didn't have a bad feeling about it. During the rest of the show itself, I enjoyed it. I liked the different segments. I thought it was perfectly great. I don't know why people would be harsh about it. It might not be the best show in the world, but you know what? It doesn't have to be that every night. Speaking of, I do want to talk about our new segment, which is the high spot of the week. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and cover probably the most amazing thing that you've seen in the last week or so, because it always seems to happen on an AEW show. Now, this week, I know we happen to agree. We may not agree every single week, but we want to talk about the Sammy Guevara spot. You know the one. If you don't, we're going to talk about it here real quick. JayV, give me your opinion on the Sammy Guevara match versus Darby Allin. You know the spot we want to talk about.
So it's Sammy versus Darby, two of the biggest daredevils in the business.
That's true.
And there were two spots that I thought were incredible. So Darby does his running plancha, where he dives. He does a suicide dive in between the ropes, running at full speed, like 100% speed, and just rams himself into his opponent. Well, Sammy countered that with a cutter to the outside. That was pretty badass, but that didn't really compare to the 630 that Sammy pulled off the top rope onto Darby through a table. How sick was that?
I gotta say, those were the two spots of the night. No question. They are the two biggest daredevils in the company, and that's why they need to stay the hell away from Jeff Hardy. But the 630 off of the ring post, again, much like Vikingo previously, he was on the corner post. He does a trip. I mean, what's a 630? It's like a spin and a half before he lands on Darby Allin, who was laid out on a table, crashes through Darby, crashes through the table, and they're both wiped out. It is an amazing move, and one of the taunts that Sammy does is he does the little tongue out, I'm a crazy guy move. So he knows he's a daredevil. You know he's a daredevil. He proves it every week, each and every time. And that other one that you mentioned, the cutter that Sammy gave Darby after Darby threw himself bodily through the ropes without a care for a world for his body, that cutter looked like it damn near broke his neck. That thing, the way Darby landed, I was like, oh my God, I think he just died. It was sick. I hope, I'd say that they're safer in the future, but I know for a fact that's never going to happen. But that is our high spot of the week. AEW does not let us down. This is going to be a reoccurring thing because every week there's going to be something that makes us go, holy shit. And that was, I literally, my jaw dropped And I said aloud to myself, my wife's in the other room, I go, that's our spot. That was it. There was no question. That was what we were going to talk about tonight. So let's move on to the rest of the show. But before we do that, please remember to give this a like if you enjoy what you're hearing. Give us a subscribe if you'd like to hear more. And go ahead and share this out to your friends and family. You can join us in our Discord by going and clicking the link down below. You can go to EliteMarkOrder.com, find out all sorts of information about us, and click on Join the Discord there. Or you could just send us smoke signals and comment down below. We want to hear your opinion on the high spots in ECW. AEW. I just said ECW like it was the goddamn 90s.
EC Dub.
Yeah.
EC Dub. Let's hear a Joey Styles. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
There we go.
All right. So the actual show opened up the way I love it, and that's with Orange Cassidy. As always, the strings of Jane hit, and that tells me there's going to be one hell of a match starting. So out comes Cassidy, and out comes Bandito, and I got to tell you, Bandito looked sharp. He looked like fucking Zorro. I thought he looked great. And the crowd didn't respond because it's been 3 months since we've seen him. So they talked about it publicly that they know people are getting lost in the shuffle, and they're going to try to capitalize on momentum more. So hopefully...
I think, like you suggested last week, is like, we were talking about where the hell is Bandito? He's been fighting in the U.S. He hasn't been fighting for AEW. What the hell's going on? So Tony Khan, obviously, when he listened to our podcast, heard that. It reminded him that he has Bandito under contract. He must have just completely forgot. So what do you know? Here we have OC getting defending his title against Bandito. What a great matchup.
It really was. And again, the story of the match is Cassidy's hand. But there was also the added level that the announcers were nice enough to inform us about, that Bandito had been training specifically against Orange Cassidy. That's how he got out of one of Cassidy's pinning combos, the mousetrap. He'd been, training specifically with people who had been an influence on Cassidy so that they would have an insight to some of the moves. Overall, Cassidy, once again, was impressive. He did a Hurricane Rana with no hands. I mean, he did a flip-up Hurricane Rana with no hands. Bandito was an amazing opponent. At one point, he did a one-handed gorilla press slam over his head. I don't know how you do. It was.
He is definitely strong for his size.
Yeah. It was very impressive. I like Bandito. I've always liked Bandito. He's a powerhouse luchador. And so he's got all the luchador style, but he's got some of the powerhouse stuff. He played into Orange Cassidy's comedy spots, and after the match, played into Orange Cassidy with the sunglasses, and it looks like made a new best friend, because they were friends later on, right after the match, in an interview segment. I thought that the interplay between the two was great. The crowd loved it, of course. Orange gave us another great match, still managed to get a pin. And it's got to be next week. Now, we're hanging on the edge of our seats going, how can he still win when he's got the hand? We know it's fake. But how can he still win when he can't use the punch, when it hurts him so bad, when his opponents can target that the entire match? Compare that to Jade. And we'll get to Jade. Compare that to Jade Cargill, where it's really dull, and I'm tired of seeing her win because she's so dominant.
Yeah, she doesn't really, and we'll get to it, but she doesn't really tell stories in the ring. She just has a match, usually wins dominantly.
Yep.
And we'll talk about that when we get there. My notes from the Orange Cassidy match was, you already mentioned it, that Bandito did escape the mousetrap. Excalibur said no one's ever escaped that before. I don't know if that's the case. I would imagine someone else is kicked out of it. But
a good sell. It's a good sell.
Yeah, and then Bandito did not go after Orange's hand. He wasn't putting it on the mat and stomping on it. Bandito was a good sport, and I think that was one of the reasons why they became best friends after the match. to go along with them training together. Or Orange putting the sunglasses on Bandito with the mask on was a nice touch.
It was very much a face versus face match.
Yeah, definitely. And I couldn't help but think as they kind of teamed up and became best friends, like poor Chucky T and Trent. If I just wonder if Chucky T and Trent, are they going to lose a spot because this is happening? Are they going to be pushed back to dark because of this, as opposed to showing up with Orange? It's like, I don't know how far they're going to take this, but I always love me some Chucky T, so I don't know. I hope that's not the case.
They're on the next ROH show, so they've got ROH in lockdown because they're going to be, in a winning bout. I'd rather see them on TV, but Orange making friends with Bandito doesn't cut them out. I think it adds another level. However, I think overall with what happens, I don't know. It's just weird. So let's just move into that and let's talk about it here for a second. We move into Renee with Adam Cole talking.
And no sound.
Oh, the sound issues are killing me. Tony, I know you're listening. Will you please fix the sound? Renee's segments are the absolute worst. Not only was there no sound, for a while they were still playing Cassidy's music over Renee Paquette, who now is really your only backstage interviewer for good reason. She's good. Your sound guy is fucking her. Not literally, but figuratively, because if he was literally doing it, Moxley would kill him. But she was in back with Jack Perry and Darby Allin. They talked about their four corner stuff. They were talking about, it was Adam Cole before the break. It was those guys after the break. So before the break, it was Adam Cole talking about Jericho and how, you're a big, mean man, and Jericho had his response or whatever. And it built their momentum. It built their match, fine. I'm not really enthusiastic about what's going on with Cole and Jericho because Jericho's Vortex. So I'll let it play out. I'll see if it gets better. Later on in the show, things happen. We'll see where it goes from there. But my point, at the end of it, Cassidy and Bandito both come in together and do a comedy bit with Renee. So I thought that it flowed one into the other because it came right off their match, right into that area. They were out of breath. They were sweating. They just fought each other. And here they are standing next to each other doing a comedy bit. Oh, did you want to interview us? No, I was just talking to Adam Page. Oh. And Bandito goes, oh. And they both just walk off. I thought that was hysterical. I thought it was a really funny bit more than anything because it gives a lot more comedy into Orange Cassidy. That is his strength. And I think it's showing some character and charisma for Bandito for him to connect to the audience. Making them laugh was a good thing for Bandito. So I like that segment, and I like the way that they played off from the match right into the interview segment after their match.
Yeah, you wonder if this might end up in a double cross with Bandito, so and just to help build him up as a heel. I don't know. There's a lot they can do with him. So,
and that's the point. Is I like story, and this is a story between two wrestlers who earned mutual respect in their face versus face match. So, I'm happy to see where it goes. That's all I'm saying. And then we have Renee Paquette back from break doing another interview, and this time Perry and Darby Allin. And, you didn't have my back, but I want you to have my back. Okay, cool. They're building the Four Pillars match. These interview segments don't really get me enthusiastic because, once again, there were sound issues with Renee coming back from commercials. They're doing the job. They're telling the story. Darby Allin's being a bit of a dick. What the particular point I'm thinking of, Darby was like, hey, if it was you, I'd have just won again. Ha ha ha. Right. Kind of a heel move.
Yep.
Where did that come from?
Well, that's vintage Darby, though. He doesn't like anyone except Sting. So that's kind of part of his gimmick.
Okay.
Yep.
I guess that's fair.
Yep.
Now, clearly we're not spending a lot of time on these segments because they're really not that interesting. They're fine. They're quality wrestling promo segments.
Yeah, and we don't need the podcast to go 2 hours. So
again, but more importantly than that, we don't need to do a play-by-play for the promos. Go watch them. Go watch these shows. It was amazing. But I'm not going to do justice trying to tell you Darby Allin was being a little sinister prick. You heard us talk about it. You want to see it for real? Go to AEW. They got it all online. But stay here and listen to the rest of the podcast.
That's right.
So let's talk about a really interesting match. And that's going to be the very next one, AEW World Tag Team Champion Dax Harwood in a one-on-one match against living legend, the last outlaw, Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett for life, never been against Jeff Jarrett. I thought it was
against him, and
you did.
It was the wrong move.
Yeah,
it was the wrong move.
NB never bet against Jeff Jarrett. NBAJJ. That's all I'm saying. Never bet against Trillin. Never bet against Jeff Jarrett.
Right.
Especially in non-title when you're setting up for a title match later. And I think I mentioned that before, either in last week or in the Discord, where this is going to build up that Jeff can beat one of them, Dax. Next week, they have Lethal versus Cash. And if Lethal gets the win, now they both got wins against the tag champs. Now, if my wrestling math is correct, Cash Wheeler is going to win his match against Jay Lethal next week. There will be shenanigans, but they'll be overcome by even smarter faces. Because this week they were kind of dumb. They assumed that the heels were going to stay in back, and Sanjay came out and cheated. So next week, I think Cash is going to have Dax ringside for the whole match. And that'll negate the interference, and he'll get the win. And then that'll lead into the tag match. I
wonder how long Sanjay was actually under the ring. Like, when did he
get there is the question. Yeah. There's a ramp that leads from the back under there. Typically in wrestling, they have some sort of access to get under there when needed. Because they literally showed him, it's not like they used to do it in WWE, where you'd be under the ring before the show started and have to wait hours and hours and hours. And occasionally, Kurt Hennig would take a dump in a bucket and leave it for you.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, no. There are stories of people, maybe not Kurt Hennig, but I think it was, who left it for someone who was supposed to be under the ring for the entire show and come out at the end, and he had to sit there next to a bucket of poop.
Yeah, there was actually in Kevin Nash's podcast yesterday, he said that Sting used to like take a dump in a bag in the locker room and then like put it in someone's rental car. He said Sting like doing pranks with shit. I sent it to my friend Jamie and he got a kick out of it. So yeah, Jamie, if you're listening, shout out to you.
There you go. I did not realize Sting did that, but
yeah,
back in the day, hazing was another level.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a good Christian thing to do, which Sting, at least at one point in time, claimed to be. So,
well, here's the thing: he puts it in a bag. He leaves the bag open, but it's in a bag, so it still smells like shit. But you can close the bag and throw it out. That is actually not a terrible prank.
Yeah, it's not as bad as taking a dump in someone's bag where it gets all
right,
over there.
Right. Totally different than taking a dump in somebody's bag because you think that's funny. That's a different level entirely. So I got to defend Sting when it comes to the bag of shit.
Okay.
So let's move on. Let's talk about the fact that Jeff Jarrett did win because of shenanigans. That does set him up for the potential tag challenge. I think it's going to be Double or Nothing. And I don't think Jeff Jarrett's going to win the titles alone or with Jay Lethal or with Sanjay or even with Satnam Singh. I don't think it's going to happen. However, when it comes to betting in the Discord, never bet against JJ. I will be betting for the Last Outlaw and his Mark Briscoe enslaved servant. Mark Briscoe is going to be instrumental in the tag title going to Jeff Jarrett away from FTR. It's going to happen. Calling it now.
Yeah. I thought the match was good. I enjoyed most of it. It's kind of amazing to me that Jarrett can still go. Like, I mean, there was a lot of technical wrestling, a lot of amateur stuff at the beginning of this one, and I said Jericho instead of Jarrett, I think. But yeah, it's Jarrett. Jarrett was pretty solid in this match, and cage match didn't seem to like it too much, but I thought it was better than a 5.5. Go ahead.
I was just going to say there were some spots where they clearly blew it. They were moving really slow by the end. I was like, wow, this is not good. So that to me is why cage match didn't reflect well, because I thought it could have been better.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't really lose interest in the match. I thought they were fine. And I don't know. It was decent. Maybe I'm just not being as critical as I once was of these matches, but I thought it was fine. I'm surprised Jarrett won. Dax was rated in a lot of people's minds the number 2 wrestler of the year in all of wrestling last year. So for him to drop to take a 3 count to a 53-year-old part-timer is kind of he's not going to be the number 2 wrestler this year taking losses to Jeff Jarrett. So props to Dax to take the L to try to build up this match, and we'll see what happens.
Dax is a great wrestler. He's shown that the strikes he had, the chops were lethal. They were nasty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
He's a hard hitter. He's got great matches. I just think that it was a little bit of a clunky match between the two. I didn't hate it by any means. I thought it was a perfectly serviceable match. I thought that the announce team really did their best to try to cover for just, it was kind of dog shoe ugly, is what I'm saying. But overall, that lends a little bit of the realism feel sometimes, where it's not perfect every day. So
right.
I can forgive it, but I can see why it wasn't rated well. Next, we move into a squash match, which was Wardlow with his new ringside manager, Armed Anderson, versus some no-name guy who didn't get an entrance, didn't get announced, and didn't get a move.
Ariel Levy.
That's what they said on the stuff that I looked up, but I don't remember him being announced, and I don't remember his name. That's just wrestling osmosis. Somebody recognized him.
Yeah, 38-year-old guy out of Chile. Has been wrestling off and on since 2015. He has fought other matches in AEW. This was his 3rd match in AEW. I'd have to look the others up. And
Dark and Elevation.
I'm not going to do that. So actually, it's his 5th match in AEW, but I'm not going to look it up because I don't know that we'll ever hear his name again. So.
It was
sorry,
YouTube.
Ariel, if you're listening. I don't mean any disrespect, but you're 38. I hope you enjoyed your 15 minutes. Well, it was only 1.5 minutes, but congratulations for getting on national TV.
He's got his YouTube spots guaranteed. It was on Dark and Elevation where he got all of his match time, all 3 or 4 matches. He did get a few minutes on national television, and if he does go back to Chile, he's going to be a national hero. He was on television in America. He'll be the biggest draw in Chile for the next generation. He's going to be Conan.
He'll be way more popular than all their top soccer players.
He's going to be the next Jeff Jarrett.
There we go.
That's the way you put it. So yeah, Wardlow obviously destroyed him. Anderson came out, just started pep talking him up, saying, "This guy's the future. I saw something in him. Other people have seen something in him. We're going to be the best." So yeah, cool. And then out come Christian, Cage, and Luchasaurus. So we know that's their next thing. They almost made it to the ring, I think. And then they left again. Luchasaurus does look badass in his new red and black gear. I've always thought he looked great, and he's got a mouthpiece, even though he's an extraordinarily intelligent man. Christian Cage does know how to cut a promo. Let's see where this goes. Maybe Wardlow won't be shitty this time as champ.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. Some people saying that Wardlow wasn't over with the crowd. I thought he was. I thought the crowd was popping for the Symphony, the Powerbomb Symphony. The other observation I have on this match was, it was said that last week Christian and Luchasaurus, when Wardlow was out there, just came to the entrance right outside the entryway at the top of the ramp, and then this week they came all the way down to the ring. And well, maybe next week they'll actually go in the ring to confront Wardlow. But I don't know. Come on, guys. Let's just get this over with and have them start attacking each other. This it's not long-term storytelling if you have a guy take another step closer to the ring every week, and then the next week, they go up the steps and then turn around. I mean, come on. Let's just get into it. We don't need to waste 3 weeks teasing something. So,
yeah, teasing something that realistically, if you're going to say something, say something. So far, Christian hasn't said much. We've got the dead dad issue. Everybody thought Christian was going to go for
waiting for it.
Hasn't. So, eventually there's going to be some words, maybe, because he's got Arn Anderson. So maybe there'll be a promo next week or on Rampage or something. I don't know. But this is really mild feud. So I like all these guys, but right now this is, just not happening.
And it's just shitting on Wardlow's reign as TNT champ. It's like when Darby was champ, they let him
have great matches,
have a great competitive match that goes 2 seconds, and then Wardlow gets to fight some jobber. So it's like, I don't know.
The same thing with Hobbs. He had 1 or 2 matches as champion, one on Dark and one on TV, and they were both squashes. I'm like, does Tony not know how to book big guys? Maybe that's the problem.
Maybe he thinks it's an overexposure thing, with them having competitive matches, and I don't know.
I think Hobbs could have been a good dominant champion if you gave him good storylines and good opponents. But again, he was being fed jobbers, the same thing they're doing with Wardlow, same thing they've been doing with Jade. And I'm tired of it.
Yep.
So, moving on, that was Arn Anderson and setting up Christian Cage. Yay. So we move on to the next backstage segment, which this time was Sammy Guevara being interviewed by who else? Renee Paquette. And basically just kind of talking up Sammy for his match for the Pillars. And who would interrupt but best friend MJF. And they have a good time playing off each other and ultimately end the segment by being best friends who hug. So, it's more of the same. It's overtop friendship, which I love. Little interplays, little backstab, little glances. Everybody knows what's going to happen. Sammy already knows Max is going to double cross him from the Inner Circle days. So, they're fine. This is great. This is just them being them, over the top, good segment, fun times. What can you say? It's Sammy and MJF just goofing off. How could that not be fun?
Yeah, I enjoyed this segment. I thought it was hilarious. The clips of them hugging each other, giving each other the vest. Sammy with the Burberry scarf, all good stuff. And of course, it led into, I don't know if there was another segment between that and when the match started.
There was.
Okay.
The segment, which I thought was great, was RJ City.
Oh God.
In the back, talking about the main event in his particular way, and I'm not sure why he was there, until he mentions Kenny Omega and Takeshita, and out comes Jon Moxley, who murders him. And that's why it was RJ City, because he is a former wrestler. So he gets murdered by Mox. Wheeler gives him a kick at the end. Basically, they just destroyed him because they mentioned the word Kenny Omega. He looks into the camera. He says, "We're going to leave scars tonight." Because, Moxley is badass. So I thought it was a fun little way to show just how heelish they've truly become under the guidance of Bryan Danielson, who has taken the place of William Regal.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of RJ City, so I loved seeing him get beat down a little bit. I thought that was great. RJ's cheap Jiminy Glick ripoff, the character that Martin Short plays. Without all the costume that makes him fat.
Yeah,
so,
that's it. Yeah.
I don't know. I just can't stand it. He reminds me of like mid-90s WWE in your house stuff with goofy announcers that would try to be funny that weren't. Some people apparently do like him, but yeah, I haven't warmed up to him yet. Maybe I will.
Some of his AEW stuff, some of it's funny, some of it is dreadful, but he's had some good stuff. His interview with David Arquette was fascinating, not because of RJ City, but because David Arquette was high as a fucking kite.
His interview
God.
with Daniel Bryan was good too.
Daniel Bryan is phenomenal.
Yeah, the Daniel Bryan RJ City was pretty good. I got to admit. So yeah, maybe I will warm up to him, but I don't know.
It depends on who he's interviewing. Bryan Danielson is entertaining.
Yeah,
David Arquette is a train wreck. So they were both good watches for different reasons.
I'll have to check out the David Arquette.
It's crazy.
I will check that out.
He is so lit. Anyways. So, then we move into the actual finals of the Pillars tournament, which there's only 3 of them. So there was a match last week and a match this week. Sammy Guevara versus Darby Allin. And they had a good match. They had the spot of the night. They had some good hard-hitting moves. I thought they told a great story. Again, Sammy shows that he is a phenomenal wrestler. Max was on commentary with the pickles, and I could not stop laughing. Because just everything Max does, now he's actually selling the pickles online. It's just so over the top. This is classic heel Max. Once again, MJF showing another facet to his character. Another interesting way to be champion for an extended period without having to be in the ring every week. So, I thought it was great. It ended with an Eddie Guerrero spot where I can't believe they did this. Where Sammy distracted the ref. MJF came down, threw the skateboard to Darby Allin like he was helping him. Sammy then let the ref turn around. Or no, I don't know. Tay, his wife, distracted the referee. That's what happened. His wife distracted the ref. Skateboard got thrown to Darby. Sammy falls down as if he's been attacked. Ref turns around, sees Darby holding it, and a DQ match. We've now had a countout and a DQ in this tournament. And then, please.
As we talked about to open the show, it was a great match with some great spots, good action. Finish was questionable. Cage match, of course, took a shit on it because of the DQ finish. But, I mean, you knew going in, at least I was pretty sure that Sammy was going to win one way or another, just to set up what's happening next week with Sammy and MJF against Darby and Jungle Boy. And if Darby and Jungle Boy win, they get they are part of the 4-way match at Double or Nothing, which we were all expecting. Kilber even hinted at the beginning of the show. Mm-hmm. So I'm super thrilled that we're getting that match. I thought the finish was I liked the finish, but it wasn't executed well. They were a little slow on I'm getting that set up, but shit happens. But overall, I thought it was a good. And I'm super excited about the main event at Double or Nothing. I think MJF will win for sure, but that's going to be one hell of a match. Those guys are going to go all out. I mean, it's a rare opportunity for four younger guys with the average age of 27, I think it is, to main event a big show, a big pay-per-view like that. I think it's going to be an incredible match. I think they will, if they have a good, strong finish to that match, I think it'll be a 5-star match. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, there's no question that it's going to be phenomenal. And the reason I say that is Max is involved. Max has already sold me on the match. His commentary sold me further. The instant shift in character when he went backstage and he was pissed off, which is coming up. It's just the entire way that he is selling this match versus his previous matches. With Bryan Danielson, it was a totally different style of presentation and character. So I appreciate the fact that we are seeing just how talented Max really, really is. And this is a showcase of the pillars. This is showing off all 4 of them in an extended period for weeks on weeks on weeks, and I'm loving it. Now, the fact is it was a DQ, and then after the match, they were beating down MJF and Sammy were beating down Darby. Jack Perry does make the save. But the important part, I thought, after MJF and Sammy run off like scalded dogs, Renee tries to get an interview with them, gets shoved off. Max then turns to Sammy and says, "I'm sorry, you can't get in the car with me. It's full." And the cameraman shows it clearly wasn't. And Sammy's like, "Yeah, okay." So they're building that intrigue. That's after they announced that there will be a tag match next week where the 2 teams, Sammy and MJF, face off against Darby and Jungle Boy. And if Darby and Jungle Boy win, they get to go on to Double or Nothing in the 4-way match. So that got set up. Max got mad about it. Now Sammy's going to be mad at Max. Jungle Boy and Darby, already sort of contentious, don't like each other, but will try to exist so they can get in the match. They're selling next week. I want to watch it. So, it's Wrestling 101. It's simple booking, but it works. It gets everybody on TV. It keeps everybody interested. Everybody gets to show depth to their character. I got no issues with it. And I love the intrigue with leaving Sammy behind. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought the segment was funny. It kind of begs a lot of questions for next week. How are MJF and Sammy going to get along? It's definitely in MJF's and Sammy's interest to win that match.
Yeah.
So if they are infighting, it's going to hurt them. So I thought it was interesting. I was hoping to see Sammy and MJF as best friends for a little longer. I know it's going to be short-lived. But I was hoping for maybe another week of their shenanigans, kind of loving on each other and stuff. I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, excellent. I'm looking forward to next week. I will definitely be wearing my 4 Pillars AEW t-shirt. And
nice.
I think it's going to be an excellent tag match.
Yeah,
with a lot on the line.
It's going to be fun. There's a lot of implications, and when they win, we still have a week or two where they get to have matches against each other. And I'm sure that's what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So
we shall see.
We move on where it's Adam Cole who made his way into the ring, all business, called out Jericho, did the part where he's like, "Hey, you're an ass and you hurt my girl and you're an ass." Jericho's like, "I'm not going to get near you. You're dangerous." So he sends out his goons. Typical beatdown. And what's interesting is then Bandito and Orange Cassidy run out. I'm not sure where that came from. But Bandito and Orange Cassidy also get beat down because not only did they have a match earlier, but they were outnumbered. And then, strangely, the Sean Ross Sap signal goes out, and Roderick Strong shows up. So That was an interesting debut. Everybody in the internet is now saying, I thought he was still under contract at WWE. I thought he was still injured in WWE. I thought he hasn't been cleared and was still under contract in WWE. But here he is in AEW, the biggest surprise debut, I think, maybe since the internet.
Yeah, it was a definitely a shock to see Roddy come out. I hadn't really thought about him for a long time.
Right?
Because I don't watch much WWE, or I watch zero NXT. I don't even know which promotion he was fighting in. But yeah, it was cool to see him. I think this gives Undisputed Era new life. Kyle O'Reilly has been featured on the All Access, so he is going to be back in the picture. Tony loves Kyle O'Reilly. Yeah. I don't know if Bobby Fish is in or out due to the kind of the nonsense that he did, during his departure. I'd like to see Fish back. Other people wouldn't. So the internet was kind of, or Twitter went after Bobby Fish hard last night after the debut, saying that Bobby Fish fucked up. Because the foursome of Undisputed Era would have been pretty cool. So we'll see what happens. And I think Tony gets it. Like, bringing Bobby Fish back now to be part of that group, is he could be the guy that takes the fall for the Undisputed Era. And there could be some comedy there with him screwing up. I don't know. There's a lot of possibilities. And I think one of the things we wanted to see, a year and a half ago, was the Elite versus the Undisputed Era. And with them bringing Roddy over, I mean, that's looking like a good possibility. They could get involved in the 6-man tournament if House of Black is ever allowed to be on TV again. They seem to have gone. They seem to have disappeared into the darkness again. It's been a couple weeks. But yeah, I think it was awesome. It was a great surprise, a good shock, and this just opens up a ton of additional possibilities that are going to be super interesting that AEW has to offer. With 165 guys under contracts, and this is like putting together another big stable, another big group that can be considered one of the top groups to go against Bullet Club and the Elite, House of Black, Blackpool. You got the Death Triangle. There's just Best Friends. There's just a lot of interesting matchups with the different groups. So yeah, I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, and coming out and aligning with Cole obviously was no surprise. You're like, oh, Roderick Strong, of course he's going to help Cole. They had their meaningful moment, their big hug. Cole's the big baby face. He got help from Strong, so there's obviously O'Reilly is liked. If he was featured on television, they're not cutting his contract anytime soon. The thing with Fish, who did he have a problem with? Punk.
Well, Punk, and right. He talked about, Dax talked about punching, I think, Bobby Fish or Kyle O'Reilly in one of their match for real, like shoot punching them, because he thought they were fighting too rough. So it's not just Punk that Bobby Fish has had issues with. Right,
but my point is, the one guy in the company who's still going to come back, though people absolutely are pissed at him, is Punk. Why can't Bobby Fish come back? I mean,
right. I think mid-carders don't have don't have as long a leash as a guy who's gonna, up your ratings by 30 or 40%. So.
Okay, admittedly, they're by no means comparable.
Right.
But Adam Cole has the ear of Tony Khan. Got him hired once. He's like, look, come on, just give him a $30,000 contract. Give him a per paper, per appearance contract. Give him a bone. Give him $10,000. Something. He'll get him on. If Adam Cole wants it, Bobby Fish comes back. And I think that foursome, because the Undisputed, the four with Roddy Strong, Cole, Fish, and O'Reilly are a known unit and do work well together and do have that chemistry together, maybe they do reunite. Maybe they do the Undisputed Elite the right way with everybody, including Roderick Strong. Hard to know. But his debut was a lot stronger than Jay White's. So,
yeah, it was. Yeah, definitely
you know,
from that standpoint. Yeah, I mean, there's excitement around that faction being reunited, and it was completely
yeah,
unexpected. Whereas Jay White, we'll see what they do with him. He's just kind of showed up so far. A lot of people are saying they could be doing a lot more with him. We'll see where he goes.
right. Well, we roll into the next segment, which is the QTV segment, which was QT, and then QT said stuff, and he did a thing, and he talked about how everybody in the QTV newsroom was getting beat. And then Hobbs showed up, threatened him. I was like, please drop him, please drop him. And then he said, before me, you weren't a champion. With me, you were a champion. I'll make you a champion again. I'm a man of my word. And Hobbs is like, fine. And I just really wish that he would just, I don't know, powerbomb him through a table, choke slam him into hell. I don't know. I hate Hobbs being with QT Marshall.
Yeah, same here. The segment was throwaway. Just not really interested in it.
No.
I wish Hobb would have trashed the set, and like that would have been the end of it.
It's coming. I feel it.
Face.
Yeah. Then Hobbs' face with the Book of Hobbs. Yeah.
Right.
I'm done with QTV. Get him off my TV. Get rid of Aaron Solo. The girl's hot, but she had a match on Dark, and she was okay. I mean, good for her. Yeah. She's getting exposure. But it's just, he's still the low card boss, and get him away from Hobbs. That's all I'm saying. Get him away from Hobbs. Next, we move into my personal most disappointing match of the night, which was the TBS title championship, Jade Cargill versus Taya Valkyrie, where Taya Valkyrie, yep, who was not allowed to use the Road to Valhalla, a.k.a. Jaded. Now, the issue that I have with this match is the fact that Taya is a big enough name that she easily could have taken the title from Jade. They had it built up where Taya had her in the stance and was about to hit it, and she put her back down. Okay. I think that was okay. That was good selling. She realized that she wouldn't have won the match. She would have lost. She lost anyways, so I'd have just hit it and walked out and been the big person. The part I had an issue with was Jade was put in it, like was held up, and Jade started to fight out of it. I'm like, why would you fight out of it? Let her hit the move. You keep the title.
Right.
So, typical Jade Cargill match. It emphasized again how green she is. Taya Valkyrie looked good. It was a difficult match for Jade. She did have to sell. Taya is a big girl and is easily as strong as Jade. Maybe a hair or two shorter, but easily as big and built in a different way. I mean, that girl's got some legs. That girl has got some leg. So, John Morrison is a leg man. But the fact is, yeah, you were going to say.
First off, I think the Roads to Valhalla / Jaded is one of the stupidest finishers in the business. You know, if you pick someone up by their arms, why do their legs like automatically flip up and stick to the side?
If we're going to start dissecting finishing moves, we're going to be here all day.
I hate that freaking move, and the fact that they brought in someone else that does the same stupid move, I have to bring it up. I'm like, come on. I just don't like it. You know, I guess, you harken back to Ric Flair versus Rick Steamboat. Back in 1989, they had their 3-fall match that went over an hour. And I do believe that one of the falls was finished with Steamboat picked up Flair in that chicken wing, and Flair put his legs up just like that. I didn't like the move then, and I don't like it now. So, but anyhow.
There's a lot of moves that require the assistance.
That's one of the more obvious ones.
It is. It is. But you know what? You do the Tower of Suplex Doom where there's the triple. It's total setup. You know what?
They're not finishers, though. They're just fun spots in the middle of a match.
Fair. I still have problems with the Irish whip. It's the most
Right.
it's the most unrealistic move in all of wrestling.
I feel like you don't see it that much anymore. I feel like the Irish whip is
Everybody
not...
gets thrown at the ropes. Everybody. That's the Irish whip. You pick someone, you throw them at the ropes. That's an Irish whip. It makes no
out of the
fucking
headlock.
sense.
Out of the headlock, you know.
Not even the headlock. They could just be standing there. They could do their grapple, which, by the way, the beginning grapple, the collar and elbow tie up, maybe that's from classic Greek wrestling, but that hold has no place in 2023.
Well, you're just collar elbow tie up. You're just trying to see who can get the advantage. Who's a stronger guy? Push him back in the corner. You know, go from that position. It's just, I think it's just the most basic of amateur wrestling lockups. I'm all good with the collar elbow tie up.
See, but that's my point, is it's unrealistic. So's the Irish whip. Throwing somebody, they should just stop. They should just not run. So let's not dissect wrestling moves, shall we? Because we're going to destroy our entire fan base.
It had to be said.
I want to hear comments. I want to hear your favorite, or the move that drops you out of your disbelief entirely. What drops you out? We know JR hates those big moves, the splash moves, where everybody's waiting for someone to be caught. I happen to have no problem with it, but the Irish whip pisses me off. We know you have issues with the what was it?
Jaded.
Yeah, with the jaded. So
yeah.
I want the people in the comments who made it this far. I want to hear from you. What move do you hate more than any, because you just like the leg drop from Hogan, or something that just looks like garbage? People's elbow, totally acceptable answer. So Jade Cargill wins with the weakest move in all of wrestling, the small package.
Finish was super awkward too.
Yeah, it was. Everything was awkward about that match. It was an awkward night. So yeah. I'll forgive them. Backstage, we move on because you can only have one women's segment the entire night. So after the women's match, they immediately move into the women's promo. And it was Jamie Hayter, who's still selling the arm, and Britt Baker. And they had a really good promo. They talked about how they're going to kill the outsiders. And Jamie Hayter threatened to murder the outsiders. So I think if they show up dead in the next few days, we have a confession on camera.
Yeah, we could. I wonder what the deal is with Jamie's arm, if something did happen, or if it's just kayfabe. I don't know. Hopefully she's fine, because I don't want her to miss any 10.
I mean, they really, really jacked it up in the match itself so much that they had to walk her off after the match. I think it's just pure kayfabe selling as part of just how damaging the outsiders are and how real and personal it is for for Hayter and for Baker. I think it's total selling, and she'll be fine as soon as they need her for a match. I liked it, though. It was a good backstage segment. Once again, Britt Baker shows she's an incredible promo artist. And Jamie Hayter shows she's also incredibly good at cutting a promo. So I like those guys, the Killer and the Thriller. They are the top of the women's title scene for good reason.
For sure.
Now we roll into the end. The final match was the tag match of Kenny Omega and Takeshita, Konosuke Takeshita, versus the Butcher and the Blade. Now, I personally like the Butcher and the Blade. Obviously, Kenny and Takeshita are huge. This was another clunky match. There were so many issues. Takeshita and Butcher especially did not gel very well. They had a lot of clunky moves, a lot of fucked up blown spots. Overall, this match was tough to watch. Ultimately, Kenny and Takeshita won. They finally built up a little momentum. But man, this was another really ugly match. I had a difficult time watching this match. And I like these guys.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that bad. I don't know. I don't know if I was kind of in a forgiving mood last night. But yeah, I didn't think it was as bad as the rating shows. I mean, a 6.2 for a Kenny and Takeshita match versus Butcher and the Blade is not something I would have expected. I think it's unfortunate, and I don't know if there were just communication issues between Takeshita and the Butcher, or if Butcher and Blade were nervous because they're getting a shot at a main event on Dynamite for the first time in a long time, because they've been spending more time on Dark than actually getting on TV. But yeah, they didn't deliver, and it's just too bad, because it's like, when are they going to get another shot after this? So I thought the match had some good back and forth, had some good hot tags, had some good devastating strikes. Kenny and Takeshita did a bunch of good double team moves. They looked like an experienced tag team together, working on the arm and everything. But yeah, like you said, it just didn't really live up to what it could have been. So unfortunately, I think it did fall short.
This to me is a classic example of how the WWE system works. Because in the WWE, there would have been probably a good 5 to 10 house matches that these two teams would have worked together. And all the kinks of their match would have been worked out before they hit television. And I think with the house shows that are now starting to build up for AEW, I think that's how they're going to get that sort of chemistry to work. But you have to put these sort of big name match tag team matches on in order to get that chemistry. These guys clearly have not worked together at all. And it showed. And because there's a language barrier, there was clearly communication issues. Kenny had no issue. He can speak Japanese fluently. But I don't think Butcher and the Blade can. And that, I think, is what caused the issue.
Yeah, that might have been it.
Now, after the match, of course, we had more with the Blackpool Combat Club. And they came out and, we had the back and forth. The Elite came out. They cleared the house. And then the back and forth. And it was fun. And the very end part of it is what is what stood out to me. Because at the end, after everybody was cleared out, the Blackpool Combat Club stood tall, and they were about to jam a screwdriver in Kenny's face, and Takeshita stopped them. Then they took everybody out, and they jammed a screwdriver in Takeshita's face, and he ended the night bleeding and on the mat. So the story, I think, was the Elite failed to protect Takeshita when Takeshita was successful at protecting them. Okay, intrigue. Where does it go? Don't know. But the Blackpool Combat Club ended dominant. They destroyed everyone, and they did leave some scars, just like they promised. What'd you think of him?
They definitely did. Takeshita was bleeding pretty well when the show went off the air. I haven't looked up any content on what happened after that. I don't know if Kenny spoke to the crowd, or we unfortunately didn't have any Elite Mark Order members at the Sunset Arena in Florida. I'm sorry, Sunrise. Sunrise, the city. Wow, I totally blew that spot.
Yeah, Sunset is the West Coast.
Sunrise is the location. Yeah. But yeah, we didn't have any Elite Mark Order guys in Florida to record the entrance,
this week.
Afterward. But yeah, hopefully this week we will. Yeah, that's right.
We've got a few people who are. Well, we've got some people who are going to be at it next week, and then obviously Forbidden Door. There are going to be a few angles. It looks like Sentinel says going to be multiple angles for Forbidden Door 2. So we're going to have you and him there, and maybe a couple other people. So
yeah, 60 days away.
That's that and your marriage, right?
The wedding is 58 days away.
There you go.
No, it's the next day. So it's 50. Forbidden Door is 59 days. The wedding is 58 days away.
You got the countdown going.
Oh my God.
We're going to continue the show in your absence and in your honor.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Krill said he's gonna fill in for me those 2 weeks.
Okay. Cool. I was going to say, hopefully we can find someone. Krill is obviously welcome, as is all of the Elite Mark Order.
I actually might be able to do the show on that Thursday. Actually, probably not, because I'm going to have people in from out of town. Thursday's a rehearsal dinner, so
I don't think that there's any chance whatsoever on God's green earth that you stand any sort of a chance whatsoever in any way, shape, or form that you'll be available during that week. I have been through weddings for friends. My wedding, of course, was a little different, but I know when you're serious about it, the amount of time and attention it takes, and then you have visitors, and then you have time for yourself. I'm not even going to consider that an option.
I'm not going to rule it out. The following week, I'm definitely out because I'll be in Europe for the honeymoon. But the week of the wedding, because she'll be in bed at 10 o'clock, so I might be able to do it, provided I have the time to watch Dynamite the night before. So we'll see what happens. Game time decision.
Yeah, there you go. Game time. If you're able to watch the show, then you'll be able to go. If not, well, no biggie.
But just to jump back into the match, so yeah, Mox ripped the hell out of Takeshita's head.
Yeah.
And Takeshita's probably going to be kind of upset about that. It's like, well, if Takeshita is going to join the BCC, you know, that's going to kind of discourage him from doing so. You know, that Mox tore his head all up. It's like, I thought, you know, when they held his hand up in the air for the win and Takeshita looked like he was joining them, you know, I was like, well, it can't be this easy, but man, the screwdriver shot.
Here's the thing. You don't get in the BCC if you don't bleed.
That's true.
Takeshita's now bled.
You have to bleed together. Very good point.
So I think that is how they kind of, if they have Takeshita turn on them, they bled, you know, we bled you get jumped in, you get jumped out. It's the gang mentality thing. And, you know, you only ever leave feet first. That's sort of the thing with the BCC and how they're sort of portraying it. I think this is the bloodying of Takeshita for an eventual heel turn and joining the BCC in a couple of weeks. I think maybe Double or Nothing.
Yeah, this feud is going to last a long time. There's a lot of moving parts. We did go another week without Hangman, which was kind of surprising. I thought he'd show up. So yeah, there's a lot of moving parts here. We got time for Takeshita to join the BCC and get Ibushi involved. Ibushi just released new theme song music on Twitter, and I think that might have been a prep for when he shows up in AEW. So go check out Ibushi's Twitter and listen to that song if you're interested in popping for him when he does show up. I should say if he shows up, but I think I'm hoping for when, because I just think that would take, you know, my interest in AEW to a completely different level, because Ibushi is one of the greatest wrestlers ever, in my opinion. So,
well, we know that you have an extensive knowledge of Japanese wrestling, so the fact that you're excited for one of the top Japanese wrestlers of all time to show up in AEW, yeah, that really doesn't surprise me. That'd be like telling me, hey, there's cake in the other room, and finding out that, surprise, I want to go have some. By the way, there's cake in the other room, and I want to go have some. It's my birthday cake. It's my birthday, and we have finished this show, God damn it.
All right, well, happy birthday, Scott.
Thank you.
And enjoy the cake.
I appreciate that. I look forward to next week, as always, and it'll be my wedding anniversary, so you know I'll be excited to be doing the podcast. JJ for life. All right, we're out.